All right, everybody, welcome back. We are going to finish up chapter 4 today, but before we start, I just want to thank all our new subscribers. We've hit a milestone. We're at 314 subscribers, which is great. Yay. So I want to thank everybody that already has subscribed and welcome all of our new subscribers. So, Laura, do you want to start us off on this?
Yeah, I would love to kick off the conversation, Eric. In reflection, this chapter 4 was one of my favorites. Well, it it started off with that quote from Robert Frost that I love about the two roads diverging in a wood, and I can so relate to taking the path less traveled, and I'm so excited about doing that with you on this journey with the
Oh,
treasure. But Rob Levinsky and what all he accomplished, I think was so incredible, and his career and his interest in, these minerals, just super inspiring. And I loved how it transitioned into kind of a history lesson. And we ended up on, um, the city of gold that all of the explorers were looking for, and how that connected up to the red gold mine, and a number of naming issues and clues that we explored in the last episode. So if anyone has not yet listened to the first part of chapter 4, I would really encourage you to go back and take a listen on that one first, because it was one of my favorite episodes that we've done, and I think there was a ton of great thoughts captured in there. But as we were kind of moving on and reflecting on this chapter, Eric, you pointed out something that we haven't really dug into yet, and that's some of the imagery here
yes.
in the chapter. Because, as much as you and I really delve into the text, I think sometimes we don't give enough regard to the images that are within the chapters and why he chose them or made them, right? Aren't some of the images within the book, things that he created?
You're absolutely right. He has mentioned numerous times on different interviews that he has used Photoshop. And I do have some proof of that, or at least something that may guide us to which stock footage he used for some of these pictures. So
Yeah.
first, I'll pull up the two pictures that really stood up to me and put them on the screen. The first one is the picture of the gem. Let me see what page that's on.
Page
Um,
46, the big
yeah.
green gem.
No, actually, page 51. Though there's two
Oh, yeah,
pictures,
yeah,
Jim,
yeah.
right? The one that he put like a old photograph with uh, different rips around it. So on
Yeah.
page 51, there's a picture, and it's up on the screen. And to the upper left hand side, it's dog eared. And in that dog ear, I did scroll through the whole picture, but this is what pointed out to me. It looks like the state of Tennessee. Um, it's dog ear over. If you were to flip it 90 degrees, it would look like the state of Tennessee. I It could be. I mean, it gets back to the old Rorschach test, right? What do you see in this image thing? You having an art background in it, and maybe that will help us, to decipher what these pictures are. But more
Right.
importantly, what do they mean? What do we do with them, right? So,
Right.
what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I do think it's more than just an illustration of the gem that's included in the treasure. Like, I'm super excited about this gem. It's so incredibly beautiful. And, 96 carat emerald, really, really lovely. But how he styles the photos, there's gotta be there have to be clues within them. Otherwise, why would you not just keep them straightforward? I mean, is it the artistic perspective that he shows them as kind of rugged pictures with the dog ear and with, the rips and tears and sections out of them? Or are there clues contained within those things? So I remember a week or more ago, you showed me the zoom in on the dog eared corner and the shape of Tennessee that you see within there.
Yeah.
I'm middle ground. Like I totally see what you're seeing. And right now I'm wanting to like pull my book up and look closer. So I hope
Yeah.
other viewers are also, taking a look at
Yeah.
what you have on the screen or what they in their book in front of them. But I think it's really compelling. Also, I cannot help but wonder as he has these tears in the around the edges of the image, what are these reflecting? Like, are they just random tears for the artistry to make things look charming and old and vintage and historic? Or are they clues? Are they outlines of something? Are they silhouettes of something?
Well,
So
I have been tracing them. I took a little pause on it because producing a bunch of videos a week takes a lot of time. I work full time. You work full time. Just so our viewers know, we do this in our spare time. So it does take a while, but I'm saving it for a full episode. Once
all
we
right.
get through all the chapters,
Yeah.
I'll have a nice slide deck, and you will teach me how to use Google Slides because it's all new to me. And I do like having Google Slides because it's easy to access at any computer I'm on. But
Yeah.
I have been tracing them with trace paper, and then once I'm all done,
Yeah.
I'm going to look them over and then put together a presentation for it to see, because I do think he did it. He modified the pictures. Is it random? Is it, and back to your point on, yeah, he may have wanted to make this picture look vintage by dog ear and stuff, but why put something in there? Now he could just be putting this picture in there that say, just for the sake of argument, that yeah, I did put a picture of state of Tennessee and flipped it 90 degrees. Why did he put it there? Like, it would not add anything to the vintage look of this picture by putting something in the corner that you really wouldn't notice unless you're paying attention to it, right?
Right. Yeah.
So,
Agree.
so that's that picture. Now we go to the really creepy picture. So if you look on the picture on page, I think it may be on the
54.
54, this this picture, I did a reverse image on it, and it is also featured in a movie, a similar one, a movie, and I forgot the name of the movie. You could probably look it up. But it does on Adobe, and I'll put the Adobe one up. Give it credit. I shouldn't get in trouble for copyright or anything. But under Adobe stock images, it has a jungle machete image, and it has the same colors. It has the same silhouette of people walking through it. I think it only has 4 people. 1, 2, 3. No, it has 5 people. So, just like the book's got 5 people too. And they're in the sort of the same pattern, how they're walking. Obviously, it's been manipulated a little bit or a lot, but I'm willing to bet that he probably got this on Adobe Photostock, jungle machete images. So if anybody has Adobe, I personally don't have Adobe. I don't care for the subscription base. But if you look at it, you'll find it, and the picture's up on the screen here. So he probably started this as a base, right? And then he said he's then used AI to either create or manipulate the images. Now, back to the picture on page 54. If you zoom in, and this picture will be up as well, this looks oddly and eerily like a turtle head. And it looks like he's got a
I gotta look at this.
yeah, he's got a it looks like he's got maybe a hand with a couple digits on it down, and peeking through the forest. Now this isn't something that my eyes want to make a shape out of, because you can have that, right? When you look at different things, that's why sometimes people see the picture of, Jesus on a tortilla or something. You know, this one looks, now it may not be, you may interpret it as something other than a turtle head, but my eyes sort of gravitate to, hey, this looks like some type of head, not human, with a long neck, and maybe some fingers peeking through the picture. Now, I'm sure you, combing through it, you probably could make other things of other pictures. I didn't.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
try to
So
go
I
for
have
like the
that
most.
one. I do have
Yeah,
that one in um the palm tree to the left of the four walking figures. At the very top of it, I see a rider and a horse. Personally, I can't find your turtle again. You pointed out to me once. I don't see it. I have no idea. So I'm glad you're going to show it on the screen.
yeah. We'll do
But
the
I
rider and the
see the
horse one
horse and the
too.
rider in the palm tree up to the left of the guys. But one thing that you just occurred to me as you were talking and doing kind of this explanation of the picture and the source of it and all of that. Five guys, five boxes, the number
Yeah,
five. We see five everywhere. So even if the original source picture, that might even be more compelling if it didn't have five and it had four, but
yeah,
this one has five. You know that he strategically chose five for
yeah,
that reason. So super interesting. I also can't help but wonder if the outline of the mountain in the background is maybe representative of the place that the box is hidden, and that we should be looking for that silhouette when we are out, boots on the ground.
yeah. Because the mountain in the stock picture isn't as pointy. It's more of a hill, I would say, and the one
Right.
in the book is more pointy. Yeah, that's a good point, right? And again, once you guys scroll through it, you'll probably find other things too. And I try to only grab the first thing that catches my eye, because if I look at something long enough, man, I can see anything. Depending on what my mood's in, I could probably draw upon anything on the picture. But
Yeah.
more importantly, what do we do with these pictures? Now, I've noticed, I've read, heard, seen, talked to people that say, yeah, this is I see this is a clue. This is a clue. Okay, but clue to what? And more importantly, and I discussed this in our series. I don't know if everybody's been watching, and I'll put a link down to that too. We're dropping part 2 of it on the AT box with our Ohio Jones, our guest. We talk about when you add new clues into your solve, does that change the dynamics of your solve now? If you're going to commit to something new that you introduce into your solve, now does that now have to match with the rest of your solve?
No,
No?
but I mean, you know, my approach, and this doesn't have to be everyone's approach, but my approach, along the way, we have been noting things. We both have our spreadsheets. We're tracking, all the things that we've mentioned, the fives and the repetitions of the colors, and all of these clues. Like I'm down to line 102 on my spreadsheet of clues. And you mentioned just now the outlines of the pictures and the rips, and that at the end we'll put that all together, you said. And
Yeah.
or when we're done, we'll put that all together. And that's exactly what it is for me. We document all the clues without coming to a solve. And once we've documented those clues is when we go back in and we start looking for patterns, repetitions, things that naturally go together or stand out, because we have to strip those things away from the holistic text, because the holistic text is too much. So we strip away the things that kind of pop out or resonate with us or seem to be, indicative of more. But I think it's only until you have that holistic picture that you can start with a solve. If you start with your solve sooner, when you have the first 10 clues, on the first chapter, suddenly you've got a picture in your head of where it is. You're going to convince yourself that if my next new clue doesn't align with what I previously have discovered, it's invalid. And you don't have enough knowledge at that point to come to that conclusion. It's only with the holistic picture that you can do that. But that's my approach. I don't know that everyone works that way. What would be, how do you look at it, Eric?
See, folks, that's why we have her on our show, and you're not listening to me all the time. Because that makes 100% sense to me. Now you put it that way. I was focusing more on the chapter or part 2 boxes. I look at the approach differently, only because there's only 2 to 9 pages involved in that.
Yeah.
And you start building your clue base pretty quickly on that.
Yeah.
So that does make sense, because it's like I've gone down that rabbit hole of these escape rooms and what all because I've never done one, but what the biggest or the one of the best pieces of advice from that is get a project manager, assign somebody the role of project manager, and that person will be fed all the different clues that are found, and they separate and categorize them. So not everybody's looking at it again, or you don't forget one of the pieces. For instance, if there were 5, glass jars, and they're 5 different colors, then they'll say, okay, I got the first glass jar is purple, the other one's red, the other one's blue, and the other one's pink or whatever. So that, to me, that makes sense, right? You're breaking it apart into categories, and then you look at it at the end and say, now what does this all mean? What can I sort through? What can I get rid of? What can I keep? What makes sense in here? Like, we will have a picture in our final category list of what I think is a turtle. I think he's a state of Tennessee. You think he's a horse with a what was it that
a rider on horse,
on
which I think goes back to the horse and the lightning. So
right, and because I don't know about you guys watching, but when we put these videos together, we go over this stuff, but to have a working memory of it all, just off the top of my head, I can't recall 5 episodes back what we really talked about without looking at it.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important when you're looking through your book and going through, and I had a video on, how to go through to look for clues, read through it first. So you have an understanding of the story holistically, how it goes, what the theme is, without getting ahead of yourself and saying, oh, that must be a clue. Well, I haven't read the rest of the 200 pages yet. So it's good to read through, whether you're doing part 1, part 2, or the whole book. And that's why I think it's important when we go through these chapters, because we're assuming you've already read the chapter. We're hoping you already read the chapter, and then it makes more sense. You're more engaged, and then you can always go back. We keep these up. I even broke up the videos into playlists, so it's easier to find. And if anybody has a better idea how you want me to compartmentalize these, I could create an unlimited amount of playlists to quickly find the ones you're looking for. So you could leave a message on the video, or email us. But that helps organize all of these thoughts. So when you do go back and finally want to go boots on the ground, a lion share, or the largest treasure, as he says, you'll have a pretty good field guide to go with it. I don't know, maybe at some point, if we have enough people ask, I could start compiling Google Docs with summaries of everything and share
Oh, I don't
those.
know. That feels like sharing too much.
Yeah, well, if we have some more people that subscribe to our channel, maybe we'll do that.
Yeah. But, so that does go back to a video you did, right? About like, why are you sharing all of this
Yeah,
publicly? And, I think that that's such a compelling question that, we've tried to address, but actually sharing a spreadsheet, I don't
right.
know.
Because we just to let everybody know, we don't do this. We don't ask for subscribers for any reason that for our benefit. It really
Yeah,
gives our channel credibility, and it's
yeah,
really
yeah,
important when if we were to ask somebody to come on our show, a special guest or somebody like that, the first thing they're going to ask is how many subscribers do you have? Because their
yeah,
time's valuable, and if it's only a handful of them, then they're probably not going to go to it. Not because they don't like it or the channel's not good. It's just they're not going to be able to maximize their time to reach people. So that's the only reason why we sort of force feed it down people's throat. Hey,
well, yeah, I know.
subscribe.
I mean, we love it. It's meaningful to us when we see that we've got new
Yeah,
subscribers, and it means that what we're doing here resonates with people, and that that just is very heartwarming. So I'm grateful for that. But I also, often caution you not to get caught up in the numbers
yeah,
because it really is just the process of doing this is bringing us a lot of satisfaction and joy, and sharing this experience together. I think you and I had been visiting earlier about like, what was your question about why do I get engaged in the treasure hunt concept? What was your question? Do you remember when we were talking about that earlier? From an outside
oh
perspective.
yeah. So for the good question is because I'm sort of in the deep into the woods on this. So
Yeah, yeah.
I have a tendency to have my own blinders up, So the question I like to ask to you, and I sometimes I do this. Generally, it's when you're busy doing something and you just push me away or whatever, but that's fine. Is what is your perspective from an outsider coming in looking at this stuff? I mean, you're
Right.
obviously you read a lot. You have book club, you do, and you get into different books and you analyze them and remember more than I could possibly do when I'm reading. Taking that approach, what do you see or get out of this from an outsider?
Right. Yeah, I think that's a really legitimate question. Um, yeah, for you, all things lead to treasure right
It
now.
does.
We
It
were we
does.
were laughing last night that there is not a conversation that we could be in amongst ourselves or with other people where Eric cannot find a tie back to treasure and shift the conversation
Guilty as
over to the
charged.
treasure boxes. Like it is quite dynamic that you can do that. Yes.
What's done is
But
done.
indeed. Um, but for me, that outsider's perspective, this is not a hobby that I would have necessarily pursued on my own. And yet I am finding it to be very rewarding, although it has not captured my attention to the degree it does for
Yeah.
you. I think it's partly personality, not a lack of the interest level in the content. But for me, the driver in being engaged in this right now is not the treasure. It's not the mystery. It's not the intrigue. It's not the researching of, the clues and the stories, although I really am enjoying every single one of those things. For me, the true driver of being engaged in this project is getting to spend time with you and share and understand your perspectives and listen to what you're saying and considering and having the context for it and being able to be an encourager of your ideas. So that's what it is for me.
Well, thank you. You make me blush on film again.
And with that,
Well, you say you're not, you're not engaged like that. But if I recall correctly, last night when we were talking, your eyes lit up like lasers when you told the story about Rob Levinsky and how cool it was when we're explaining to your daughter. And
oh yeah,
so I was
yeah.
like, yes, she is getting into the treasure
Yeah. So
world.
in that moment, I was able to deflect what was a normal conversation into a
See,
treasure conversation,
it's working. It's
learning
working,
from the
folks.
master.
See, folks, you too can get people involved without even knowing it, slowly over time.
Right. Yes. Yes. Sometime we'll have to share. I don't think we have yet our concept about drawing the kids into this.
Oh, yes. This will be for one of our holiday specials that,
Yes.
yeah, you have to stick around. And this is why it's important. I know we sometimes veer off of the treasure topics, but hey, that's what it's all about, right? It's big. I've been working on it. It's almost as big as my Thanksgiving turkey every year that I already had a trial run on. So it's big stuff. So
Yes.
definitely don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
That's for sure, because we have really good stuff coming up. And speaking of not going anywhere, we do have part 2 of the Appalachian Trail footpath, whatever you want to call it, box with Ohio Jones dropping on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I saw it is one of our best. It was the best video or most watched video in the first 24, 48 hours of all of them.
Yeah.
And this one is a little long form. It goes into over 45 minutes, but I went with it. No edits, went straight through because it's part of the treasure part of the treasure hunt that we don't normally think about. We'll looking through Discords and Reddits and other YouTubes and stuff, we tend to get a different perspective on it than you do when you just sit down with somebody that's just as passionate as you are about treasure hunting and talk about the nuts and bolts of it and things
Yeah.
you normally wouldn't think about and how relevant it is to finding it, not just clues of where it's at, but it does fit into clues to where it could be at because you don't normally think about it. You don't think about the detail, and you could draw this back to pay attention to the details. Maybe that's what is meant by that is the more details that aren't in the words. And I'm going to just leave it at that. And it'll drop Wednesday and I'm excited.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's going to be a good one.
It's just sitting in my queue. I just got to put an intro to it and then publish it and everything. So it's really exciting. Can't wait. Can't wait for it. So do you have anything else before we cut this one up? Because we're a little bit over time.
No, I think we're good. Let's wrap it.
Great. So homework for everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. We're getting close to October. I can't believe it. It's almost, this year is almost over. Once I do my annual training and you do open enrollment, the year's over. We're on landing gears are down. We're coming into the runway. We're going to land this baby. We have a lot of cool stuff coming up, especially through the holidays. We're not going to take breaks from it. We're going to keep going. So keep watching. And your homework.
Thanks for committing.
Just have a good week and enjoy yourselves. We'll see you all until next week. Bye for now.
Bye.